Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's fourth video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next week, 10 days for today's fourth video. So day 10 will take us to the 25th of January, and we'll be able to extend that beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. Very much around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. So I shall get on that for you in a moment. Just say it's been a very busy day, GavsWeatherVids so far today. We start off with 6 AM upload. We released the second spring update, GBO Special, and if that wasn't enough, we've had a little mid-season review for the winter and the winter forecast. So, new feature, new development here on the channel, and see what you think to it. You know, we've gone over where we currently are with this winter, 2022-2023, and how the winter forecast is developing, and we've tweaked a few little bits here and there as well. So just check out the the video and see what you think to it. Please like, share, subscribe videos. Thank you so much everyone doing that. I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. Right, what am I doing? Turn off the webcam. Right, okay, let's have a look then. So we're going to start off with the situation in the stratosphere. So, currently, we've got a modest warming, or a slight warming of the stratosphere taking place over Siberia. However, that's having very little impact on the cold temperatures at 10 HPA themselves over the North Pole, where we've got these blue and also purple colours. That's the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere. A stratospheric polar vortex is the correct way to describe that. Right, so over the next few days, the polar vortex will start to become stretched. You can see how the PV is elongating rather than being circular. We've got the first warming sort of going off to the Pacific and to the west coast of Canada. The second warming of the stratosphere beginning to start gathering pace down towards southern parts of Europe. So as we go into next weekend, we find that the warming intensifies over Siberia, reaching around -8 at 10 HPA. Still, at that point, the polar vortex well and truly in business mode over the Arctic and over the North Pole. Excuse me. Now, as we go into the extended range with the GFS midnight run, we almost get a split of the PB. Look at that. It almost splits there around the 27th of January as this warming from Siberia infiltrates into the North Pole. So close to a split. It couldn't get any closer, really, to splitting, but it just doesn't quite, and then it starts reforming somewhere over northern parts of Europe. So we call this a displacement about the midnight GFS run, going for a displacement of the polar vortex rather than a split. It looks as though the warming is beginning to re-intensify again, though by the very end of that GFS midnight run gets us to the last day of January. It has infiltrated into the North Pole. Right, now let's have a look at the 6th, the very latest GFS run. And again, this is how it looks for the next week or so. Very much on target with the warming beginning to gather pace over Siberia around the 23rd of January. Into the extended range, what happens with this one? So we infiltrate that warming into the North Pole, and we keep intensifying it. So by the end of the GFS 6 there, we've got very intense warming moving into the North Pole. That's like a genuine southern stratospheric warming. The polar vortex still just about in business. It is displaced. It's displaced event again, not split. There over northern parts of Europe. I reckon that second warming though that's gathering pace there, at the end of January there, the last couple of days, but I reckon that will be enough probably to split the vortex if we go on a few more days. So still very interesting developments in the stratosphere at 10 HPA with the 2 GFS operationals. Let's have a quick look, shall we, at the GFS, at the Ensemble, see what they're doing. So once again, we can see that the control run going for quite a significant warming and a displacement of the PB displacement event on that one. This is how Ensemble member number 2 is looking. Again, very significant warming penetrating into the North Pole, displacing PV there, but not splitting it. We are looking for a split, really, although people do tell me that a displacement is all right. Now, this one is splitting PV. There we go. So that's one of the ensemble members that actually splits the PV. That's a fully fledged SSW. So everything's on target with that one. We're warming over Siberia. It penetrates into the North Pole, almost certainly sends solar winds into reverse, and also splits the vortex. So that does everything that you want an SSW to do. So ensemble member number 2 is successfully completing the full southern stratospheric warming process there. Ensemble member number 3 also splitting the vortex as well. Ensemble member number 4. That's so close to splitting the vortex, isn't it? So that split, do we think? Just about splitting the vortex with ensemble member number 4. What's ensemble member number 5 doing? That one doesn't split the vortex, but it does have a very intense warming going into the North Pole. Ensemble member number 6 looks like that. That one doesn't split the vortex, just displaces it. Ensemble member number 7 splits the vortex. That is again doing everything that you want an SSW to do. Ensemble member number 8, what's that one doing? Let's have a look. So that one doesn't split the vortex, but it does have a very intense warming going into the North Pole itself. Ensemble member number 9. Of course, some of these that aren't splitting the vortex up to the end of the run, they might still split the vortex afterwards, in the day or two's afterwards. This is just up to the 31st of January. Maybe some of these would split the vortex on the 1st of February and whatnot. That also has a pretty intense warming moving in towards the North Pole as well. Ensemble member number 9. Ensemble member number 10 doesn't split the vortex, just displaces it up to the 31st of January. Ensemble member number 11 looks like that. Very intense warming. Wow, get the red colours into the North Pole. Ensemble member number 12 looks like that. Again, very intense warming right over the pole with that one. Very dramatic. Ensemble member number 13. Again, very dramatic one. And I think that is just about splitting the vortex, really, isn't it? That's just about splitting the vortex with ensemble member number 13. Ensemble member number 14. Looks like that exciting, this, isn't it? I love it. Ensemble member number 14. An intense warming going into the North Pole, not a split of vortex up to that point. Ensemble member number 15. I know I've spent a lot of time on this, but it's fascinating, isn't it, to see how all the scenarios work out. Look at that warming with ensemble member number 15. Goodness gracious me, going right in over the top of the pole. That's got to split the vortex a day or so afterwards, you would have thought, wouldn't you, being so intense with the warming. Ensemble member number 16. That one doesn't split the vortex, but it looks like it's about done for, doesn't it? Ensemble member number 17, looks like that. Very intense warming with that one. Not a split though. PV. Ensemble member number 18. Looks like that. That one doesn't split vortex either. Ensemble member number 19. Let's make a bit of progress. That one does split vortex, more or less. Yes, that one's splitting the vortex as well. Ensemble member number 19. Ensemble member number 20. That one doesn't do it. It doesn't have as much of a warming either with that one. That's very much toned down. Ensemble member number 21, which does that, tells back this is still a little bit uncertain. Still all in the extended range of the GFS and its ensembles. Ensemble member number 21, big warming but not split. Ensemble member number 22. Again, pretty intense warming with that one, but you don't split vortex. Ensemble member number 23. Looks like that. And again, very intense warming right over the top of the pole. Ensemble member number 24. More or less splitting the vortex. It's very close to it, isn't it? Ensemble member number 25. Doesn't split the vortex, but does penetrate warming into the North Pole. Ensemble member number 26. Looks like that. Oh, wow. Look at that warming again over the North Pole. Ensemble member number 27. looks like that, and it doesn't split vortex. Ensemble member number 28 looks like that. Ensemble member number 29, we're doing it at the end now, everyone. Number 29 looks like that, and then ensemble member number 30 looks like that. Very intense warming right over the pole with that one as well, but not splitting the vortex up to that point. It's all looking fascinating at the moment, and we wait to see how this is going to resolve itself. This is the latest zonal wind forecast from the GFS 6Z ensembles from those ensembles we're just looking at from weatherscool.com. So at the moment, of course, zonal winds very strong over the North Pole, and just strengthen a little bit more actually in the next week, but then a crash. Nearly all ensemble members, just one or two not doing it, but nearly all ensemble members are going for a dramatic weakening of zonal winds. We have got some there that are getting the zonal wind into reverse. I think there's a couple that's reversing zonal winds, and quite a few that are getting very close to a reversal of zonal winds by the end of January. Those will be ones that are splitting the vortex there. So we wait and see, and we'll keep you posted. It's getting interesting though, isn't it? Getting exciting. Right, central temperature, let's move on. Central temperature is sitting at 7.9, which is over 4 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 14th of January. That will start coming down over the next few days as colder weather develops. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're at rugby today. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for rugby. We're already pretty cold today. It's not been out. It is quite cold out there. And it is going to get colder over the next few days as well. So we've got about 4 or 5 days of cold weather to come. I think getting milder over the weekend into the early part of next week. And then into the last days of January, staying generally above average with the upper air temperatures. However, that might be also rather anticyclonic. So you might not necessarily realise those milder upper air temperatures on the surface if we start getting frost and fog. You get a bit of a gruesome too. So precipitation wise, yes, there's going to be some showery weather to come and precipitation during this cold spell, so a little bit of that might be somewhat wintry and whatnot. And then after that, I think there's a Snow Watch live tomorrow, by the way. I think we'll try and do a Snow Watch live stream. How does that sound? At 8 p.m. tomorrow. That could be fun, couldn't it? Drier through here, perhaps. That could be a high pressure building. Then right at the very end of January, might be turning a little bit more unsettled. Snow row for rugby looks like that. So there's some snow spikes there from like tomorrow through to around the 19th. Could be a little bit of snow. Not much doing for snow after that. And just look at sea level pressure. So you can see the change that could be on the way. So we're starting off with low pressure at the moment, around 990 millibars, something like that. But by the last week of January, we're up to around 1,030 millibars, which just tells us that high pressure is going to be building up. The position of the high pressure will be therefore critical as to whether we realise these milder air temperatures or whether actually it's quite cold under the high pressure and we get frost and fog, and we won't know that till a little bit closer to the time frame. But we can say that temperature anomalies from the 15th, 23rd of January, 23rd of January are going to be colder than average, not just for the UK but for most parts of Western Europe as well. And precipitation anomalies from the 15th, 23rd of January are going to be drier than normal. The latest wind from that from nullschool.net shows that we are changing wind direction today. Jet stream is beginning to move southwards. Jet stream going down towards France and Biscay now. And so cooler air is already pushing in from the northwest, and colder air is waiting to move in from the north. And that takes us very nicely to the UK Met Euro run for midnight on Wednesday, when we are in a proper cold northerly wind then. As we go through the Thursday and Friday, low pressure starts moving in off the Atlantic. Bit of a struggle to get below in though, so the east there is probably staying cold through to Friday. In the west, probably turning a bit milder, but there could be some rain, sleet and snow in with that. And then into next weekend. So this is what I'm talking about. We are going to build up some high pressure, but whether the milder air ever really gets into that southeastern corner, into the south and southeast, I'm not sure there. It could still be quite cold, I reckon. Despite the upper air temperatures, they'd be lifting up, you know, but I think on the surface, could potentially still be quite cold through like the Midlands, central, southern, southeast England. Clearly for the north, it is a mild push there of southwest winds. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland, it is turning much milder. But just whether we get those milder temperatures properly into the south and southeast next weekend. Icon, looks like that again, wintering from the north on Wednesday, so it's going to be cold through the middle part of the week. Early next week, milder air trying to come in from off the Atlantic, but it is struggling as we go into the weekend. High pressure building to our south and east with low pressure away to the northwest. So again, do we ever really get the milder air into the southeast corner? So the upper air temperatures will be lifting up, but does on the surface the milder air get into like the Midlands, central, southern, southeast England, or does the ridge keep it cold with the mild air mostly restricted to Scotland and Ireland? You know, that again is an open question. The GFS midnight run again with cold northerly winds. Forgot which model we was looking at then. GFS midnight run with cold northerly winds on Wednesday, and they carry on into Thursday as well. Friday, Saturday, milder air pushing off the Atlantic into the north and west. Still looks like it's pretty cold though in that southeastern corner. And then as we go into the following week, so this is 23rd of January, again we've got high pressure building to the south and the east, low pressure out to the northwest. So milder certainly in the north. How much milder it is for the south remains to be seen there. That's how day 10 looks. So a weather system pushing through the country, probably taking a little bit of rain, but high pressure still pretty close to the country, to be honest. And then the high pressure builds back strongly as we go into the last week of January, and that does suggest, I would have thought, frost and fog with that high pressure more essentially located over the top of the country. The GFS 6Z again with those winds in from the north on Wednesday into Thursday. Over weekend, a little bit more of a southwesterly push with the GFS 6Z. So I think this operation run is turning it milder even into the southeastern corner over the weekend, and certainly by the beginning of the following week we're all into those west-southwesterly winds, albeit still relatively dry, particularly in the south. And then beyond that, into the external range again, high pressure dominating the weather, but in a position that allows milder air to be coming in from the southwest. So the GFS 6 is definitely milder there through the last week of January compared to the midnight run. The position of the high pressure will be very important for the last week of the month. If you enjoyed the video, then please you like, share, subscribe, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, GM with winds in from the north on Wednesday, looking cold and wintry. Trying to turn milder at the end of next week, but struggling. Then we go into next weekend. So the north and west looking milder, could still be quite cold though. Down in the south, I think there, up to day 10, probably turn milder everywhere by this point, but very anticyclonic in the south, with a lot of dry weather, quite unsettled in the north. And then the ECM with winds in from the north on Wednesday into Thursday, then low pressure comes in off the Atlantic at the end of next week, brings some outbreaks of rain to the northwest, but it's probably still mostly dry and quite cold in that southern southeastern part of the country into the ridge of high pressure. And day 10 looks like that. So by this point, probably turn milder in most areas, but particularly so again in the north, it could be colder under the high down in the south. Bit of a precipitation forecast based on that. ECM run from meteo.com. So some rain, maybe with a little bit of snow along the south coast into those southern and southeastern counties tonight and tomorrow morning. Snow showers across Scotland, a band of wintry showers coming southwards through northern England. Then we go into the day itself tomorrow. Snow showers in the north and west, mostly dry for inland areas. Could be another area of snow flirting with southern counties as going into Tuesday morning. Excuse me, more snow showers around the coast. We've got a rain coming in at the end of the week into west, so that could turn to snow on the leading edge, but that really struggles to get in. And then next weekend, some patchy rain for central parts of the country, but mostly dry down in the south. That takes us through into the beginning of the following week. A few showery bursts here and there, but not a lot going on really. The high pressure is mostly in control there. We can't show you the options on the table within the ECM ensembles again today because they haven't updated at the Icelandic Met Office. When they come on stream, I will bring those to you. So the last thing we're going to look at is the CFFB2. These are 500 millibar height and orange breakdown to week periods. The first week period takes from 15th to 21st of January. The coming week has a low pressure to the south and the east. High pressure is out in the Atlantic, and winds are coming in from a cold northeasterly direction there, so cold and wintry in the week ahead. Week 2 is going to be the 22nd, 28th of January, strongly building high pressure over Scandinavia. Low pressure trying to come in off the Atlantic, but I think, you know, that could just about be get wind into the east there. So the CFS may be hinting at being quite cold in the last week of January. Week 3! Going to be the 29th of January to the 4th of February. Low pressure breaking through from off the Atlantic, then turning milder, wetter and windier. And then week 4, it's the 5th to the 11th of February, with low pressure again in the Atlantic, high pressure across southern parts of Europe, and that's looking milder, wetter and windier once more. We shall wait and see how that resolves itself. Temperature anomalies for week 1, colder than average, significantly so, actually, in most deep blue colours there. Very often you see the CFS going that cold. Week 2 is also quite cold. Look at this. This is a bit of a change from the CFS for the final week of January. 22nd to 28th, still below average temperatures then. Week 3 goes milder, of course, as the low pressure breaks through for early February. This is 29th of January to 4th of February, turning milder. And then week 4 looks like that, and again turning, or is significantly milder from the 5th to the 11th of January. We shall see. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. And why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. So cold and wintry for the next few days. Getting milder in the north and west, certainly, by next weekend. Could still be quite cold, though, down in the south and southeast. And then we wait and see what happens with that area of high pressure going through the last week of the month. The big storyline continues to be, I'm saying it every video for the last few weeks, continues to be what's happening in the stratosphere. We shall keep you posted. And are we going to get SSW in the last week of January? Let me know what you think in the comments. Just so coming up tomorrow, I'll have a 6 a.m. upload. We'll have a 10 to 14 day, and we'll be live streaming Snow Watch, I think, tomorrow evening. So that will be a little bit of fun tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon and evening. And for this video, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.